Hi friends, welcome back. Today we are making Baccarat Rouge 540 by Francis Kurkdjian. This fragrance was released in 2015, and what a game changer. It's simple, it's sweet, it's light, it's airy, and this fragrance has been copied many times by many companies. Now, there are a few GCMS reports floating around for this fragrance. I've taken a look at that. I have my own version of this fragrance. But today I'm going to be highlighting Andreas Wilhelm's formula for this. Again, I found this in the Instagram account Fragrance Drama. In a particular post, Wilhelm, who runs Perfume Sucks, in this post he analyzed, or he at least provided the formulas of Baccarat Rouge 540, Initio Oud for Greatness, and then one of his own fragrances, and shows that how each of them are unique, but there's a through line, there's a consistency between all of them. Now, Baccarat Rouge, what we're whipping up today, I'm going to make a slightly larger sample, about 12 grams. It'll fit in my 10 gram or 10 milliliter bottle, but I'm also going to make a little tester so I can smell this compared to my own version that I've made. Now this fragrance is incredibly simple. Top notes are saffron and jasmine, middle notes of amber, and base notes of fir and cedar, at least according to Fragrantica. This fragrance is predominantly Hedione. And there's a lot of Veramoss, a lot of Ambroxan. Wilhelm here splits the Ambroxan in between two different amber materials, Ambroxan and Ambrox DL, or I think you can use Cetylox as well there. And then, of course, Ethyl Maltol. That creates the core of this fragrance. Once you have that, which is, over 85% of the formula, then you have the other notes like the citrus, the woods, the saffron, and altogether it is absolutely stunning. So let's get this started today. We're going to start with our dry materials. There are three: Ethyl Maltol, Ambroxan, and Veramoss. Let's start with the Veramoss. Veramoss made by IFF. The chemical name is methyl atrarate, and methyl atrarate is one of the main constituent molecules in Oakmoss. Already overdid it. Luckily, this is my first ingredient, so I can just dump this back in. And this gives me a sense of how heavy the solid materials are when I'm using this scooper here. Okay, we're going to start over. I'm going to tear this. Yeah, let's tear, start over. We're looking for roughly half of a gram here of Veramoss. That will do. All right. Next up, the next solid. Let's do our Ambroxan. 0.4 of a gram at 100%. Now my final solution, my final formula will be roughly 20% concentration. That puts it in the Eau de Parfum category. Today I thought about making a kilogram of this, but then I thought twice. First, this is my first time making this particular formula. It's very similar to my own, but again, it's not mine. I don't know, you know, in my formula, I don't use sweet orange or lemon. I just use green mandarin. I don't have cis Jasmone. Yeah, cis Jasmone in mine. So I'm wondering, you know, I don't know which one I prefer. And if I'm going to spend $300 to make a kilogram of juice, I want to make sure that I really like it. And it's something that, you know, I'll give away as gifts to family and friends, coworkers. Next up, Ethyl Maltol. All right. Can't smell it right out of here. Cannot smell it. About 1/10 of a gram. There it is. Okay. Solids are done. Let's get into the other materials. Now, this is mostly Hedione. The juice that I'm making does not include the isopropyl myrcetrate. I can never say that right. The DPG. I don't have any other solvents. I've removed the solvents. So when you remove the solvents, you remove the sunscreens, the antioxidants, the UV protection. What you're left with is basically 50% Hedione in the juice. Now, I'm going to use Hedione HC. I've made this before with Hedione only. I've made this with some mixture of Hedione and Hedione HC. I've made it with Carismol. All of these have a different proportion of cis isomers in the material. And I've never made it with 100% Hedione HC. So we're going to give that a try. All right. I can smell it from here. Next up, let's do our other Jasmine materials while we're at it. Well, first let's do our ISO-E Super. This is really just a filler. There's a breath of this in here. Not even half of a drop. I would say 2/3 of a drop. Let's see if I can work my magic. I think that'll do. Wonderful. Let's do our other Jasmine materials. We have cis Jasmone, and there's not much of this. Cis Jasmone is funny. So it's jasmine-like, but there's a celery note to it. It's always funny, smelling celery. And there is just a breath of this. I really should make a smaller dilution. All right. And then Jasmine Sambac Absolute. Using real jasmine here. It's such a small amount. Why not? Need to somehow get that much. 0.008 grams. Oh, that's perfect. Wonderful. Okay. Coming along. Next up, let's add our woody materials. Oh no, let's finish off with our amber. Some Ambrox DL. Or amber naphthofuran. I love this amber smell. Love this amber smell. To me, it's stronger than Ambroxan. It's drier. It's woodier. We want 1 gram. I'm using a 20% dilution here. I can't remember why I made a 20% dilution of Ambrox DL. Can't remember if this came as solid, but usually I don't make a 20% dilution or a 50% dilution unless there's a reason. Alas, I did not keep good notes. Okay, next up, Oakmoss GIVCO. Now this is another material that is missing out of my formula. Interesting, I'm interested to know what Mr. Wilhelm saw in the GCMS analysis that inspired him to put Oakmoss GIVCO, or reconstitution, just a fake oak moss, into the formula rather than only going with Veramoss. Maybe there's some other oak moss aroma molecules, aroma chemicals that he identified. Okay. There's another formula floating around from Creative Formulas. A nice guy named Felipe from Brazil. I think someone had purchased the formula and then shared it with everyone. I'm not sure that was a nice thing to do. But I understand the eagerness and excitement to share what you have and what you know with others, believe me. But that one is also floating around. Next up, we have some Fir Balsam. Now, in the formula that Wilhelm provides, he suggests a Fir Balsam reconstitution or Fir Balsam Olfac. I have that, but I'm like, why not just use the Absolute? They're very similar in smell. I'm just going to use the Absolute because why not? Maybe it's because of the color. You can see that the color is quite dark using the Fir Balsam Absolute. For reference, Fir Balsam Absolute is different than Balsam Fir Needle. You're dealing with oil versus Absolute. Extraction method is different. It smells different. Now, in the Wilhelm formula, in my own formula, there's Tagetes. Love Tagetes, but it is restricted, IFRA restricted, because of the skin sensitization and phototoxicity. So you're restricted to 0.01% of the final product. This final product is going to have 10 times that amount, so we'll see what happens. Of note, in Felipe's formula of Baccarat Rouge, which is fantastic. Felipe in general does a good job. Creative Formulas does a good job. But that formula does not have Tagetes in it. It's got all the other stuff you'd expect, but no Tagetes. Interesting. Okay, that's dissolving nicely. You know what? I had a magnetic stirrer in here that I poured out and is now inside of my Veramoss. Oh boy. There it is. Found, oh good, my spoon is magnetic. Oh, that's so handy. That worked, you can see that. Magnetic stir. Magnetic stir. What do you call these bars? Stir bars. Hung right on. Oh, that is fantastic. All right, got it back. I was going to have that in here because I figured I'd have to stir this up, but maybe I don't because everything is dissolving nicely. Let's move on to, you know what, we'll do the Safranal last. Now, the next up, sweet orange lemon oil. I'm guessing that this is, you could do a couple different combos of citrus such that you get your limonene right, and then you get in some other, some other aroma chemicals that are inside of your citruses. But given the amount of citrus that is in here, you might even be able to get away with just pure old limonene. There's not much. I'm using right now orange oil, sweet orange oil, of course, from the US of A. I've got a very nice sweet orange from Brazil, or from Portugal, that is also lovely. All right, next up, lemon oil, Sicilian lemon oil, and there's only a bit here, only a bit. Like the kind where you have a half drop and then you squeeze it out and you touch the glass, you touch the beaker so that it pulls the material out. Right. Last, such a short formula. Last but not least, Safranal. I'm using a 0.1% dilution of Safranal because this is strong, very strong. Great material, but easy to overdo. Good, 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 good. About 14 happy drops, and that will do it. Last up, Perfumer's alcohol. Now, given the concentration of what I have in here, this is, what would that math be? We're moving to 20. Maybe this is about 60 to 70%. 60 to 70% concentrate right now, with only 30 to 40% solution. Dissolvents, what do you call that? Solvents. There it is, solvents. What I need to do is add, for this particular formula, for this particular recipe, about 7 grams of Perfumer's alcohol. And again, this is going to get me to about a 20% concentrate. Now again, I am not using any of the other solvents like DPG, IPM, TEC, whatever it is. Also, I'm not using Octyl Salicylate. What is it? Parsol, MCX. I don't have any of those inside of this particular formula. What I do have, when I'm putting together a formula that requires, it's going into a clear bottle, and it requires some UV protection, I picked up some Soul Guard from FredoWorks, which combines a lot of the antioxidants, UV protection, UV protectors, into one product, one liquid product, and I will use that. All right, we'll give this a little mix. We're going to give this a little smell. I'll have to take it with a grain of salt because this changes over a day, a week, a month, 3 months. This will change. However, I'm very familiar with what this smells like right out of the beaker, right when it's made, because I've made it so often. And friends, this is so easy to make. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 ingredients. A masterpiece out of 14 ingredients. And that's just this formula. Again, the one that I have, I think has 12, 11 ingredients. Not much. So super easy to make. Beautiful fragrance. It's nice. It's nice. It's bright, soft, it's sweet, and it's so easy. I'm interested to see how this goes after it matures a little bit, macerates a little bit, and if there's a true effect that the Hedione HC has on this formula instead of just Hedione, or even a mixture of Hedione and Hedione HC. But I'm going to bottle this, put it in a tester, give it some tries, and compare it to the other formulas of of this particular fragrance I have. Friends, thank you for joining me on this very quick video. Feel free to give this a try. It's one of the easiest masterpieces you can whip up. So until next time.